Jake Paul with yet another impressive knockout win against Mike Perry, and yet all the drama and talk began after the fight. Conor McGregor was so angry that Jake Paul won that he went on a whole rant on social media platform X, and he even fired Mike Perry from the Bare Knuckle League. Let's dive into the drama. Jake Paul put on an impressive show, stopping Mike Perry in the 6th round. The YouTuber turned boxer delivered a sharp performance, securing another knockout to set up a future fight with Mike Tyson. Paul, now with a boxing record of 10 wins and 1 loss, was originally supposed to fight Tyson, but the 58-year-old heavyweight legend had to pull out due to an ulcer flare-up on a flight in May. Paul's display at cruiserweight saw him knock down Platinum Perry 3 times in 6 exhausting rounds. This victory confirmed the rearranged bout with Tyson, scheduled for November on Netflix. After the fight, Paul also called out UFC champion Alex Pereira, though a future match seems unlikely due to Pereira's contract with UFC and UFC boss Dana White's reluctance to let his fighters compete outside the promotion. Despite hopes from the MMA community that Perry would stop Paul, it was Paul who dominated the fight, finishing Perry in the 6th round. The aftermath saw Paul challenge Pereira, and new BKFC owner Conor McGregor announcing he would fire Perry. This has left many fans wondering what's next. Following a busy weekend of fights, MMA Fighting's Mike Heck, Jed Meshew, and Eric Jackman discussed the Paul vs. Perry event, UFC Vegas 94, and the wild fallout from Paul's win. They talked about the upcoming fight with Mike Tyson, the unlikely chance of Pereira fighting Paul, and Perry's future in combat sports. Additionally, the panel covered Verna Jandiroba's big main event win, and her potential title shot. Jake Paul and Conor McGregor have never been friends, and their latest exchange only adds fuel to their ongoing feud. Just minutes after Jake Paul secured a 6th-round knockout against Mike Perry, improving his professional boxing record to 10-1, Conor McGregor took to social media to criticize Paul. McGregor accused Paul of exploiting a significant weight difference and being overly reliant on performance enhancers. He also mocked Paul for calling out Mike Tyson, who had recently experienced a medical emergency. And he absolutely did not go easy on him. He went wild. McGregor completely destroyed Jake Paul. Although Jake Paul didn't read all of McGregor's comments, he got the main points, including McGregor's claim that he would fire Perry from BKFC after his loss. McGregor, who became a co-owner of the Bare Knuckle boxing promotion in April, made this statement publicly. Perry has been a significant star in the BKFC since transitioning from the UFC. Paul responded to McGregor's comments, expressing disappointment over Perry being fired, but also claiming he had predicted this outcome. He then turned his attention directly to McGregor, whom he has been calling out for a fight for years. At the post-fight press conference, Paul taunted McGregor, highlighting that while McGregor frequently posts on Twitter and enjoys time on his yacht, he hasn't stepped into the ring to fight him. Paul ended his press conference with a laugh, stating that he isn't losing sleep over his ongoing verbal sparring with McGregor. Instead, he is focusing on his upcoming fight with Mike Tyson. The boxing match against the former heavyweight champion is scheduled for November in Dallas, and it will be broadcast live on Netflix. However, Jake Paul also called out Alex Pereira after the fight, and even FaceTimed him, challenging him to a fight. So before the fight with Mike Tyson, we might see Jake Paul yet again in the ring. It all depends if the two fighters make a quick deal and sign the contract.
Sign the contract, big boy. Sign the contract.
Conor McGregor was also challenged in the post he made about Jake Paul. He followed up with another post where he went on Mike Perry and said that he is fired from bare knuckle fighting. On this, Conor was met with a lot of backlash from people on social media. They all backed Mike Perry, saying that at least he stepped in the ring while he avoided Jake Paul. Some even claimed that Jake Paul would school McGregor in the boxing ring. There are a lot of haters claiming that Jake Paul is constantly fighting old people, but Mike Perry is 32-year-old and is a fighter in a boxing sport. He is not a rookie when it comes to punching. There are also those who claim that they are paid actors, but with each fight it gets more and more obvious that Jake Paul is a great fighter, but there are people there who still refuse to accept that fact. Conor claims Jake Paul being heavier and on steroids, screaming of desperation and envy. Like when Jake Paul says that he is the face of the sport. To some extent, he is right. He is the guy who attracts the most attention, and he is the fighter that gets talked about the most. Some of the old-school fans of the sport can see that and accept that fact. It was everything that boxing was all about. Excitement to see someone fight. At least most of the people are still hoping to see Jake Paul knocked out, but yeah, you get it. New fans were quick to criticize Mike Perry's lack of defense and head movement. They felt disappointed with his performance, pointing out that he got jabbed and beaten down without putting up much of a fight. It's clear that Perry struggled against Paul's reach and power, and many think he should stick to bare-knuckle boxing, where he has found a niche. There are also comments about the size and weight difference between Paul and his opponents. Jake Paul has often fought smaller, older, or less experienced fighters. This fight was no different, with Perry being at a significant disadvantage. Fans argue that Paul needs to fight someone his own size to earn more respect. Names like Deontay Wilder were mentioned as potential opponents who could give Paul a real challenge.
And it takes years, sometimes a lifetime to get. I know fighters that have been fighting several years and never got an opportunity to fight for a title, never been a contender. And then they see other guys that's got into the sport and they gain popularity, they gain money from it. It's like it seems easier for them than for them.
Conor McGregor's comments add another layer to the discussion. His harsh words about Jake Paul in the fight only emphasize the ongoing feud between them. McGregor, who has been out of the ring for a while, continues to criticize Paul from the sidelines. Jake Paul's response was equally bold, calling out McGregor and pointing out that he hasn't stepped into the ring to face him, but we discussed that already. Despite all the criticism, there's no denying that Jake Paul is improving as a boxer. He continues to take on fights and win, showing growth and determination. His upcoming match against Mike Tyson is another example of how he is pushing boundaries and making waves in the boxing world. Whether people like it or not, Paul is making a name for himself and staying relevant in the sport. Perry also gave a mature post-fight interview.
With Jake Paul, did he do anything at all that maybe surprised you or that you did not expect?
He hit me with a right hook to the body in the beginning, cracked my rib in like the first 10 seconds. And then I was trying to find it on him, trying to find a right hook to the body, trying to use my jab to set it up and see when I could possibly hit him with it. I just was never able to even see it. I think he was just too fast.
What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.